Greetings, fellow mortals. The term fan comes from the word fanatic, a person with excessive and single minded zeal. In a way, every person on the planet has that tendency towards something. They obsess over their fandom almost religiously. It could be anything: books, movies, comics, shows, sports, animals, or even work. There's always a space reserved in people's minds for their fandom. It's weird how intense those feelings can be. My theory is that it's an extension of our survival instincts. As our basic needs are met on a regular basis, humans can branch out to focusing on more existential needs. If you don't have to worry about food, water, or shelter, then you can turn your attention to things that you like and make you happy. And I don't have any judgment whatsoever for what your fandom is, as long as people aren't getting hurt because of you. But if you collect anime figures or Star Wars merch, then I don't particularly care how you spend your money. Of course, my theory is just that, an unproven theory. Complete nonsense, but it sounds good at least, no? And if I'm right in any sort of way, can you imagine what it would take for you to give up your fanaticism? The thing that you obsess over, the thing that you spend hours upon hours a day thinking about, the thing that brings you the most happiness out of anything other than your most basic of needs. It would have to be a level of terribleness that we can barely imagine. I know that my own fandoms are scarily strong at times. Oddly enough, that sort of thing happened to Henry Cavill. Talk about a guy who can do whatever he wants. Superman himself. He gets to pick whatever roles that he wants at this point. Women throw themselves at him. He has more money than most of us can even comprehend. This is a man that doesn't have to want for anything. It even got to the point that he got to live his dream of being one of his favorite characters in one of his favorite series, The Witcher. And yet, he gave that all up. Now, this could be for a wide range of issues. Perhaps there are personal things going wrong in his life. Maybe it's because he's pushing 40 and is getting tired of having to look like a Greek god. Or, as I think most of us would assume, it's because he's deeply unhappy with how the Witcher series is going. And I mean deeply unhappy, to the point that he would give up his fanaticism. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Witcher TV series. I've loved the games, I've enjoyed many of the books, but the show was just fine to me. The first season was good, the second season was meh, and this coming third season must have completely gone off the rails, because Henry Cavill has openly declared his love of the Witcher franchise. It's gotten to the point that he was the only one on set fighting to respect the lore. It must have been a fight that he lost. After all, he dedicated himself to a 7-year plan for the Witcher series. Henry Cavill didn't even make it halfway through the 7-year strategy. Hearing that makes me worry for this coming season. How bad does it have to be for a superfan to give up a dream role? I mean, put yourself in his shoes. Imagine that you get to be a part of your favorite fandom in a meaningful way. You get to be a writer, director, consultant, actor, coach, or some other significant role. It's your dream, and you wouldn't give it up for anything. Yet, Henry Cavill did. It gives a sense that the Witcher series is doomed to a slow death, which is a shame considering how amazing The Witcher is as a franchise. Granted, I've got into it in a weird way. I played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and worked my way backwards, but I adore the lore of the series. Of course, that's a trend nowadays, completely disregarding and disrespecting what came before. A lot of these revamps, reboots, and adaptations actively despise the source material. They want to make something completely new. It's gotten to the point where I don't even know why they're slapping the franchise name on it. Lord of the Rings, The Witcher, oddly enough, not House of the Dragon. That was actually an accurate adaptation of George R. R. Martin's work. It makes me wonder what type of contracts and lawyers that he has on his side. But for most of these fantasy franchises, the new creators seem to actively despise what they're working on. Perhaps it's because they're being forced to work on things that's not in their fandoms. After all, The Witcher isn't for everyone. This could just be a job for a lot of people, which is kind of sad. After all, Netflix has proven that they can make any piece of garbage continue for years on end. Just look at Big Mouth. They could make a show with its own original lore and advertise it enough that people will watch it just out of morbid curiosity. Or there's always the option of hiring people who love the Witcher franchise. Imagine if everyone involved adored the Witcher series as much as Henry Cavill does. It could have been a new Game of Thrones phenomenon, but that's not what the people involved wanted. They wanted to deconstruct and destroy the source material to the point that the super fanboy himself threw in the towel. And you know what? I don't really blame him. I'm almost always willing to throw in the towel with a fandom. There's only a few series out there that I trust anymore at all, and I tend to convert my fanaticism in different ways. If one of my favorite things starts to suck, I change my focus to YouTubers and podcasts complaining about that thing, at least until I find something new to enjoy, or I just go back and watch what came before it all fell apart. Fortunately, we will always have The Witcher books and The Witcher games. In fact, CD Projekt Red is actually remaking the first Witcher game and is coming out with The Witcher 4. Hopefully, those projects don't end up like Cyberpunk 2077, because I went back and played that game again. Without mods, it's still not good. Fantastic world, characters, and plot, but the game is just terrible. Playing that game makes me feel like Henry Cavill. I just want to give up and move on to something that makes me happy. But what do you think? Am I completely off base here? What do you think is going to happen in The Witcher show? What's your favorite fandom that makes you as giddy as Henry Cavill was with The Witcher? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your perspectives. And thank you so much for watching. If you like my takes on storytelling, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It would really help me out. Also, please remember that I will be self-publishing my novel, Dance of Frozen Death, at the start of 2023. I hope that you will check it out. I appreciate you. Do not despair.